Each credit card ecosystem has their kind of superstar player. You have things like the Citi Custom Cash that earns 5x on any category that you choose. In the American Express lineup, you have the Amex Gold Card that earns 4x on dining and 4x on all of your grocery purchases. And that card, even though it has a pretty high annual fee, that card can give you back almost all that annual fee, if not more, by using some of their credits. So each of these ecosystems, whether we're talking about Wells Fargo or Capital One, or even the new Bilt ecosystem, all of them have superstars in their lineup. But all of them also have some cards that are, well, less desirable, and maybe they're lacking in comparison to the better cards that they have. So today we're going to talk about what is the worst card in each of those credit card ecosystems. I mean, we're only going to really examine cards that earn the primary currency. In other words, we're not going to look at co-branded cards, airline cards, hotel cards that earn a different kind of currency, but rather we're going to look at the ones that earn Chase Ultimate Reward points, or ones that earn Citi ThankYou points, or American Express membership rewards, the primary transferable currency of those individual programs, and ask the question, which is the worst card in the lineup? So if you would, hang on, hit the like and subscribe button, and let's examine it together. The first ecosystem we're going to look at and ask which is the worst card in the lineup. In my opinion, I think that Capital One has a card that is really popular. A lot of people have it, but yet it's lacking compared to the other cards, and that is the Capital One Quicksilver. It seems like everybody has a Quicksilver. I just went to dinner with some good friends the other night, pretty large purchase at a restaurant here in town, and they pulled out their Capital One Quicksilver. And they use their Quicksilver everywhere. A lot of people do. I think that it's a card that has somehow got a lot of traction, probably because of all of the advertising. Capital One does a lot of television advertising, and they have big stars in their ads, so maybe that draws a lot of people to them. But the Capital One Quicksilver is a zero annual fee card, so it doesn't cost you anything, and really almost all the cards on this list are no annual fee with the exception of the one with American Express. But that card, it only gets 1.5x on everything. Now, it's 1.5x cash back, but the reason it counts for this list is because the card's points that you earn can also be combined with other Capital One cards that earn Capital One miles, like the Venture X card or the Capital One Venture or even the Venture One card. And those cashback dollars can be combined over to Capital One miles and used to transfer out to Capital One partners. So why would anybody want a Quicksilver card? It doesn't have elevated earnings. It just has a 1.5x on everything. When the other cards in the Capital One lineup that you would pair it with, unless you paired it with the Capital One Venture One card, that which is just not a good card at all because it only gets 1.25x on everything. But the $95 Venture card and the Venture X both get 2x on everything. So they're also catch-all cards. So here you've got a less valuable catch-all card that in order to use the points for transfer partners, you would have to pair it with a more valuable catch-all card that's going to get 2x instead of 1.5. So I think this card, even though it's very, very popular and a lot of people have it and a whole lot of people use it, I think it's just because they don't realize that there's better stuff in the ecosystem with Capital One. So I'm going to say that the worst player on the Capital One team is for sure the Quicksilver card. Now we come to kind of the newest player in the game, because before they only had one card, so it was the best card and the worst card. But now Bilt has 3 cards to choose from. Now, as of today, you can't have more than one of their cards at one time. But the worst one in the lineup, when we consider the Palladium at the top end, which is an amazing card, and the Obsidian at $95 a year, which is also a very, very good card, especially for dining or for grocery spend. And all of these you can put your mortgage or rent if you meet certain metrics and get extra elevated value. So the worst one in the lineup is the no annual fee Bilt Blue Card. Now this card, as we mentioned, it doesn't have a fee, so that's definitely in its favor, but it really is just a 1x earning card. Now, if you spend enough on this card, and basically it comes out to if you spend 75% of your mortgage value every month on this card at the 1x, you're also going to get a boost to your points earnings if you go ahead and pay your rent or mortgage. So you can get points for your rent or mortgage. So that's going to take it up above 1x back as its base earning rate if you're doing that for rent or mortgage. It also has 4% Bilt cash that comes with it with every purchase, and you can use that either to, on one of their systems, to activate your mortgage payments so you earn points, or you can use it for other things like a points multiplier. If you spend $200 in Bilt cash, you can get 1x on everything up to $5,000 of your next spend. And all of that's really pretty decent for a no annual fee card. So I would say this card is a lot better than a lot of other ecosystems' no annual fee card and their worst card in their lineup. But in the Bilt lineup, it's definitely the worst of the bunch. So as far as the worst Bilt card, it's definitely, in my opinion, the Bilt Blue Card. The next one was pretty hard to decide, and that's Wells Fargo. And it's because Wells Fargo, almost all of their cards are pretty good. I mean, they earn a lot of points. The real problems isn't with the cards with Wells Fargo. It's more with the ecosystem because they don't have a lot of transfer partners. But, you know, you look at the Journey card, you look at the Autograph card, you look at their quirky card that gets 4x on a whole lot of one-off categories. I mean, and then, you know, they have their active cash card that's a 2x on everything. Those are all really good cards. I mean, so what would we choose here? Well, they have a card called the Reflect card. And I'm only putting it as the worst one in their lineup, and it doesn't really earn any points that go with the others. But I'm putting it here because all the others are really pretty good. So there isn't much of a choice here. But that Reflect card, that's a card that's no annual fee. And basically, it's just a low APR or no APR for a limited period of time transfer card. So you can get this card, and if you're carrying a balance on something else, you can put it on this card and get 12 months or 18 months or whatever they're offering at no APR. So that, I guess there's some use for that. I'm never going to use credit cards for that purpose, but some people do. But there's not really a points earning card in the Wells Fargo ecosystem that's all that bad. So I'm going to say this Reflect card is the worst one in the Wells Fargo lineup. Citibank is another one that's kind of tough to choose a worst card. They've got, of course, the Citi Strata Elite that's got some really cool perks, and also it has interesting earnings because it's 1.5x on everything and 3x on dining, 6x on dining on Friday and Saturday nights, and it also gets like 12x in the portal on hotels and rental cars and things. So that's a good card. The Premier card, 3x on so many different categories for $95 a year, is a fantastic card. They have the double cash, 2x on everything. They have kind of their superstar, the custom cash, no annual fee, 5x on a spending category of your choice every month up to $500. Those are all fantastic cards. So the ThankYou earning point card that I think probably is worst in the lineup, even though it's not that bad, and that's going to be a theme throughout this list, is some of them, their worst cards aren't that bad. And that's definitely true with this one. And I would say it's the AT&T Points Plus card. Now, it's a no annual fee card that's really designed for AT&T customers. And it does have some perks for AT&T customers. It has things like, well, you get $240 a year, $20 off your bill with AT&T. So that really only applies to people who have AT&T as their cell phone service. But that's pretty good. But it's where the points earnings are, where it kind of drags it down below the others. You get 3x on gas, you get 2x on groceries, and you get 1x on everything else. Well, the 3x on gas, that's not too bad. The 2x on groceries, well, you can do better with other Citi cards. And then 1x as a base, that's kind of what you see on so many different cards. So even though this card's not terrible, it is probably the worst ThankYou earning card that is in the Citi's lineups. So I'm going to say the AT&T Points Plus card is the bottom of Citi's lineup. The next one is the only card on our list with an annual fee, but it has a rather significant annual fee for a worst card in a lineup, and that is the American Express Green Card. Now, this is where I said the theme of this video that would run kind of as an underpinning is going to definitely be true. And that is that not every card, just because it's the worst in a lineup, is actually that bad. Now, if they still issued the everyday cards, we would have a totally different contender for this, because that everyday card is just not good at all, and it does earn membership reward points. But as far as the ones that are currently available to earn membership rewards points with American Express, the Amex Green Card is just not as strong in some ways as particularly the Gold Card that has that 4X dining, 4X grocery category, or even though the Platinum Card doesn't have great earnings, it has really incredible perks and credits. And so I think we have to put the Green Card in this spot. Now, it's $150 a year, and part of the reason that it's not as good is because it only really has one credit to offset that, and it's a credit that won't benefit everybody. It's a clear credit. Not every airport has clear. So if you live in a place where the airport does, that might be helpful. Otherwise, you're basically paying that $150 a year. It has 3X on travel, transit, and 3X on dining, which are pretty good multipliers, and then 1X on everything else. So is it a bad card? I think it's not. In fact, a lot of people say it's an underrated American Express card. And I think in some people's systems it can be, because it has pretty good earnings, particularly in that travel and transit category. That's a spot where a lot of cards don't have any elevated multipliers. But when we compare it to their ecosystem at large, I think this is the one that sits on the bench the most. I think this is the worst player on the team. And then when it comes to Chase, I think their bench warmer has got to be, even though so many people have it and so many people use it, in my opinion, it's the Freedom Unlimited card. It's a no annual fee card, and the card, as is true with all of these, most of them give some sort of sign-up bonus, small sign-up bonus. But this card, the Freedom Unlimited, it's a catch-all card, but it's only a 1.5x catch-all card, which is definitely falling behind many of the other ecosystems that have a 2x earning card. And so when it comes to this card, you get 3x on dining, because that's just true on every Chase card just about. You get 3x on drugstores, and you get 5x in their portal on Chase Travel, but that's not really much of a point that would move the needle. And then you get 1.5x on everything else. So to me, this card is just lagged behind the times, and it's definitely not as good as the Freedom Flex that has the 5x, rotating categories. It's definitely not as good as their Sapphire Preferred and Reserve, which, they have some of the same multipliers, but they directly give you access to transfer partners. So I think the worst one on the list and the bench warmer for Chase has got to be the Freedom Unlimited card. Well, what do you think of my list today? I might have missed one. There could be something that is worse in each of these lineups. Well, let me know in the comments below. If you would, please consider my channel membership. It's $2.99 a month for the basic tier, which is RM Insiders. I do special release videos just for my channel members almost every week. I also early release most of my videos just for them so they can see it first. And so if you would like to consider that, you can cancel anytime. Also, I have the premium tier of membership, which is my Spreadsheet Warriors. And this is a more advanced tier where you get everything from RM Insiders. But in addition to that, we have at least once a month a live Zoom call where you can interact with me face-to-face over Zoom. We can talk about everything, points and miles, redemptions, ask any questions that you want. And all of those are recorded for Spreadsheet Warriors to be able to watch at a later time. So consider both of those. You can look at the join button or the link down below. Also, please like and subscribe. I appreciate you being here. And let me know, what do you think is the worst card in each lineup? And I'll see you here next time.